Hello, everybody. It's Parallel Wisdom here and Ron from R&J Media. And you're listening to Puck in Deep, where we go deep into the NHL and all the action that's going on, everything, all the news, all the reports, maybe some rumors, all kinds of stuff like that. Anything to do with hockey that we do, anything to do with the NHL, you'll find it here in Puck in Deep, and you'll find it in a very deep way, right, Ron? So Ron's been coming on here. He's got a few questions for me that he's been thinking about since the last time we were on. Go check out the last one we were on. It was really good. It was
man.
We sort of did how the Olympics affect NHL and all that kind of stuff like that. And today I don't even know what it's about, honestly, because Ron is surprising me with some questions.
Yeah, man.
And so Ron, first of all, how's it going there at R&J Media and all of that? And what's on your mind, buddy?
Doing great. First of all, I just want to let everybody know out there that our next show that we'll be doing for the very next show that we'll be doing, we'll have Lyle Richardson on from Spectre's Hockey, the Hockey News, and we had him on already. Two or three shows ago, we had Lyle on.
Yeah.
Right. And we're going to have him on for our next show. So be sure to tune in for that. Yeah. I tried to get him for this week, but he's kind of booked up. So he said next week, right? Like Monday or Tuesday, I think he said would work for him. So yeah, man, I said, by all means, bro, we'll get you all set up, and be sure to tune in check out the show that we did with Lyle on the R&J Media YouTube channel. Check that out for sure. So a lot of great stuff going on, man. A lot of great hockey being played. I mean, I just want to say a quick little shout out to the IIHF World Juniors is starting to put together their team there for the United States. And we've got an announcement for the Canadian team for the CHL versus the USHL Prospect Challenge. So there's a lot of great hockey going on, man. I'm really excited about a lot of that stuff too. So yeah, exactly. So here you go, man. This is one of the things I wanted to get into the deep end in Puck in Deep here for this one here. And one of my first questions for you is this: since you're Canadian and you're from Canada and all that other stuff, and I want to get your take on, and Lyle's going to love me for this one, but the fact that the Montreal Canadiens are playing so good, have had a tremendous start to the season, and everybody at first started questioning the whole Dobson move, and then, man, he is just really paying dividends for Montreal, I think. You know what I'm saying? And that was a really great move for them. So I'm very interested to hear what your take is on the Montreal Canadiens. The fact that we're like this close to 20 games, you know what I mean? And they're doing really, really well.
Yeah, I mean, they are one heck of a young team. It's funny you mentioned that Dobson move. I guess you might call it arguments. It was arguments with Islanders fans. I wasn't wanting to argue with them. I wasn't, but Islanders. Islanders fans don't come at you with with mitts on. You know what I'm saying?
So they come. They come
I just
at you with mitts.
posted something saying Dobson's, like, it was his underlying analytics and all of those sort of things like that. I said Dobson was probably one of the most underrated defensemen this year, and blah 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 blah. And apparently, Islanders fans did not think that, not at all.
Well, apparently, that didn't go.
So I tagged a lot of their comments in the conversations. There are some that are respectful. There are some that are just. Some fans can be just so emotionally involved. It's like their team is their identity or something. So I tagged a bunch of them. And Look at Noah Dobson this year. Like you said, he's playing well, not just offensively, but defensively in Montreal. He always was good, but he had problems with one-on-ones, and he had problems boxing guys out in the corners and stuff like that. But they were playing this kid 25 minutes a night, and they were in their zone a lot. You think he might have been a tad tired? And not to mention, they kept on sending me I think I told you this before, all these 2-on-1s that he was having to stop, that he was really bad at. And I'm like, you guys sent me 32 2-on-1s that Dobson had to cover in a season. I thought they were all the same one, but most of them were all different. So who's the problem here? Dobson is the one that's back. Where's his other partner? Where's everybody else? I showed him, I said, look at the forwards that are playing completely out of position in the neutral zone and all that. So anyways, he's playing in Montreal. Montreal's not the greatest defensive team in the world either, but he looks really good. He looks really solid. And Montreal's a really good young team. The question is going to be, and I brought it up before the season started, is how are they going to take teams like Dallas today, LA the last game? They only played 4 out of their first 16 games. They only played 4 teams that made the playoffs last year. And they are 1-3-1, or sorry, 1-3-1 in those games. We'll see what happens with Dallas here. And I was saying that last year nobody knew Montreal was coming. This year it's a different story. People have a book on Montreal this year, so it's going to be a big year for them.
It is.
I got all Montreal fans freaking out on me. Oh, you think Montreal's a bad team? No, man, no, I don't. It's not that. They're a young team, and there's a learning process that comes with this. And they're going to have to learn to play defense before they do anything in the playoffs. And the only way you can practice that is in the regular season. So somewhere along the way here, they're going to have to learn how to play defense, because I'll tell you, the forwards don't, except for Suzuki, don't really know now how to do that. And they're going to. So there's going to be a transition process here. And I said, just hold the phone. I was really just trying to help Montreal Canadiens fans out, because when Montreal goes in their 7-8 losing skid, realize that it's not that they're a bad team. It's just there's a process to everything.
Okay.
That's what I mean. I still think they're fantastic. I still think they're incredibly set up with beautiful young talent. They're exciting and fun to watch. You can't help but love that. Having Goulet not in the lineup right now is big. That Goulet is a very underrated defenseman. But they beat a lot of teams that were not playoff teams this year, and you can only beat the teams put in front of you, and they've done well at it. So
hey, you're beating the teams in front of you, Yeah,
you don't beat those teams, and you're in worse trouble. That's for sure.
And they need those games now, especially now. You know what I mean? Because I really do believe that what we talked about in our last show is really affecting some of these teams, and some adversely, and some are the other side are doing really well. Like, I think, man, you look at Anaheim just exploding out of the gates, right? And then you look at some teams that started slow, like Dallas. I think it took New Jersey a minute to kind of get rolling a little bit. Now they're starting to roll. You know what I mean? Pittsburgh started out of the gates really good, but now they're starting to cool off a little bit. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, and you're seeing Chicago just kind of doing above and beyond. I think Detroit playing
high shooting
above
percentage, playing hard. Yeah,
right. Okay, right. You know what I mean? And so, okay, but here's one thing that I want to talk to you about, Perlo, and that's this. When I read about this, and I was like, oh wow, this will change things quite drastically. And I'm talking about the Florida Panthers and Matthew Tkachuk potentially being back within 2 weeks. Okay. And when we first started talking, we even did a review of Montreal, right? And came out and said that, or not Montreal, I'm sorry, of the Panthers,
Florida Panthers, yeah.
and said that, man, with these injuries, how long do you think it's going to be until we're going to see some of these guys back? And we all thought that, oh, Kachuk's going to be at least, the All-Star break, or I'm sorry, the Olympic break, right?
Mm-hmm.
If he comes back in 2 weeks, I think that changes the landscape a little bit, don't you think, Mr. Perlo Wisdom?
Wow. I mean, Matthew and Brady are probably my favorite players in the league. Like, to me, those guys exemplify what hockey is. That's what hockey always was to me. Is guys like that have the right amount of hate on their heart when they're playing. They just compete, and that's
yeah,
hockey.
yeah.
That's why I was a Philly fan back in the day. You got Tocchet, Berube, the guys at freaking Brindamore. Those guys had hate in their eyes when they played, man. And I think the league is missing that in a lot of ways. But you got guys like Brady and Matthew and Marchand, guys like that still have that in them. So I think Florida knows they're missing that. They know they're missing that. You can only generate that so much. Marchand can only generate that by himself. Barkov has that in him too, and he's not in. So yeah, it seems like they're kind of in the let's try to stay afloat until Matthew gets back. Spiritual leader, guy that just drags you into the war. It's funny, you would think that you could just do that, but some players are just meant for that. They're just meant to drag you in the
I agree.
They know how to get the other team riled up. They know how to get their own team riled up. And what's going to happen? Matthew comes back. I don't know how good is he going to be, but I imagine he's not. I hope he's not coming back too early. Gets the ball rolling. Florida gets moving. We find out the Barkov is ready before the playoffs, and here we go. Florida back on the cup run again.
Okay.
People have been selling them off. I'm like, never sell Florida short, man. You can't sell Florida short. They got an amazing coach there. They got a 2-time Vezina Award winning goaltender that's won 2 cups. They've got all that experience. They know what to do. They're not going to panic. They're going to just can't sell Florida short. There's no way. I've had friends of mine that are like betting Florida to miss the playoffs, and I say, good luck with that. Good luck with that. It's just no. I mean, no. It's like the Boston Bruins back in the day. They'd have guys get hurt, Bergeron get hurt, and stuff like that, and people would say that Boston's in trouble. Boston was never in trouble back then, ever. They had the same thing when they had Bergeron and Krejci and Lucic back in those days.
Yeah, right. Chara, who, by the way,
Chara. That was
right. Shout out to Chara, who just got was elected into the Hall of Fame.
Steven Jackson.
Right, there you go. But shout out to Zdeno Chara, who just got elected into the Hockey Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
first ballot Hall of Famer.
He never gets talked about as one of the top 5 defensemen of all time, and I wish he would. I'm not saying he is, but he should be in the conversation. When you watch that guy play back in the day, like who was getting in that zone with Chara?
Well, the fact that he was that tall and that big and still able to play. Look, the guy couldn't skate to save his life.
When he got older, he could skate well enough for a big guy, though.
Well enough, but that was his downfall, was his skating. But the fact that he was able to play as well as he was able to play and be as good as he was able to be at the size that he was able to be, I mean, look, man, I agree. I think you have to have him in the conversation as one of them, but okay. Also, Joe Thornton was put into the Hall of Fame, right? And Duncan Keith, and Duncan Keith too.
That Yeah,
right?
deservedly so, I would say.
Shout outs to the Hall of Fame, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Joe Thornton, he still gets poo-pooed on by people. I don't get it. One of the best two-way centers of all time, one of the greatest passers of all time. Just he didn't win a cup was nothing to do with Joe Thornton. Nothing to do with Joe Thornton at all.
Exactly. I'm with you. So, all right. So, moving on from Florida, because that's really big news if Kachuk is able to come back within the next 2 weeks and be on the ice to join the team. That's going to be a huge boost for Florida. And that's going to mean bad news for the rest of the Eastern Conference. Okay. So I know we've talked about this team. I know we've said some things, but Perlo, I just got to tell you this, man. I am blown away by the Colorado Avalanche.
Oh, man.
One loss? Really? One?
Yeah.
Okay. So they got 27 points right now. I mean, every single time you hear the same names, right? Every single time, the same names. And oh my gosh, man. But, all right. So I guess Colorado is the real deal.
Let me ask you this. Who's the best player in the world right now?
In the world right now?
At the moment, not like based on what you think they are overall, but at this moment, on this day, in this season, right now, who's the best player in the world to you?
I got to go Makar.
Makar? Okay, I go McKinnon, but Makar makes sense too. Either one's fine. You watch both of those guys. Makar's, I forgot about Makar. Doesn't get credit for his defense. But that Colorado team beats teams, and they don't even look like they're trying, dude.
Either way you slice it, the best player right now is two players from the Colorado Avalanche. So
yeah.
The fact that we just rattled off two and you asked me who one of them was.
Yeah, exactly. There you go.
Okay.
They don't even look like they're trying. They got Lehkonen back. They got their spiritual leader in Landeskog back. He's starting to, he's playing good considering he didn't play for 2 years. Nietzsche's pots his couple. Lehkonen is amazing. Right now, Nichushkin is out, but you got big Nichushkin there. Yeah. They picked up Nelson from the Islanders. He pops one in every once in a while. Drury looks like he's hitting his stride that he got from that Carolina deal. Burns was a beautiful pickup. I love that pickup, dude. You get that 40-year-old guy that everybody wants to win a cup for, hasn't won his cup his whole life in his life yet, has transformed his game to be one of the better defensive defensemen in the league. Nobody talks about that. Beautiful, great person, somebody everybody roots for. I'm telling you, man, it's going to be something to take Colorado out this year. Even the Florida Panthers, if they get the ball rolling again, and you know how much I floated over the Florida Panthers the last couple of years, but this Colorado team just looks like a wagon.
Well, I tell you what, here's what I think has been the difference, because we talked about this before we got on camera about Colorado and how they won their cup with not the best goaltending.
Yeah, right? They did. That is their issue right now. Yeah, a little bit. A little bit.
Well, they got Blackwood and Wedgwood. Okay, as their two goaltenders. Okay, and honestly, I think that we're seeing that's. I mean, if you look at their scores, if you look at how they're beating teams like 9-1, they hung up on Toronto. You know what I mean?
Edmonton.
Or, I'm sorry, Edmonton.
Yeah.
The fact that they hung 9 on Edmonton.
Yeah.
Goaltending doesn't seem to be a problem in Colorado this year. And I think they're doing better.
It's definitely the weakest part. Blackwood has his injury problems, and Wedgwood has been a career backup, but they've been getting by. And Darcy Kemper is not an elite goaltender. And they won a cup with him. He did well, but if you remember, going back into those series that they played, I don't think I remember too many times where I thought, oh, Kemper stole that one. Colorado just beat everybody, and he just stopped when he needed to stop. Like,
that's true.
It's giving me memories of that year when they just trounced everybody. Yeah, it really is.
They didn't necessarily need the goaltending. They would just whip you to death, man. You know,
just whip you. Dallas 3-0. Guess what? This will be Montreal 0-4-1 against teams that made the playoffs last year if this continues. Really?
Because I was going to ask you about Dallas, but I'm starting to see them starting to come around, starting to see Robertson get on the board. A couple of games ago, he finally got on the board. You know what I mean? And you're starting to see that team starting to take a little bit better stride. You know what I mean? Ottinger playing a little better there in Dallas. So I picked Dallas and/or Colorado to represent.
Did you? Yeah. Well, you know, before the show started, I kind of went, oh, I don't know about Dallas, but I'll tell you, this Gullickson guy, I think he's come in and said, look, you guys have made the Western Conference Finals twice. And if we go over the tape, what is the reason for that? And what you're going to find is how many times did Dallas lose in the third period in last year and the year before that? Defense, man. And Gullickson has been known to be a defensive coach, much like Barry Trotz, like that type of defensive coach.
Yeah.
And I think he's come in here and said, look, I know you guys, we got some offensive guys here, and I don't know how you guys are going to adapt to this, but I'll tell you, what do you want to do? Do you want to be the team that makes the playoffs and goes out in the second round? Or do you want to be a team like, say, the Florida Panthers and the Tampa Bay Lightning who spend hours paying attention to defense and learning how it meets? Because defense wins it. I don't care 1915, 1950, even in 1980s, not as much, I have to admit, or 2010, defense wins championships, unless you're the Edmonton Oilers of the 1980s. Besides that, defense wins championships. And if you are going to let things slip in the third and try to win high-scoring games in the playoffs, you're likely not going to win unless you know.
Right.
So,
right.
That's you brought up, you know, it's possible. I shouldn't be saying that because if they buy in, why not? Why not Dallas? They got great players on that team.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I mean, that's kind of what I wanted to cover on this. That's kind of what I wanted to throw at you and just kind of get your take on some of those things. Look, I'm really enjoying the hockey. It's been really amazing. We're seeing teams like Chicago and Anaheim and Detroit that are at the top of the standings right now. You know what I mean? And you're seeing teams like Boston and not quite so much. You know what I mean? But so last question I got for you. We got Ovechkin now. What is he at 901? So you asked me who the greatest player was in the NHL right now today.
Mm-hmm.
And we both picked a guy from Colorado. Not the guy from Washington.
No.
Because let's face it, he's only got 4 goals this year or something like that.
Yeah.
4 or 5 goals this year. He's not even remotely close, but
yeah,
he doesn't need to be. He can basically just cash it in this year. You know what I mean? Seriously, what does the guy need to prove anymore?
Yeah. He can go off in the sunset now. And
exactly.
Sadly, it almost feels like that's what he's doing. I don't know. I see his face on the ice, and I watch him a lot when I there's an energy to him about that says this is the last year. There's an energy about him that says that. Do you agree?
Yes.
Do you see that?
Yes, I absolutely do, because he seems like he's reveling in it a little bit longer. He's lingering a little bit longer in it. He's enjoying it a little bit longer. You know what I mean? Like,
I also see kind of a frustration in him too. Like he wears his heart on his sleeve, man. And I'm not so sure that there was this I don't know, because you never know sometimes with the translations with the Russian media, but I saw an interview with his wife in the summertime, and they asked him about it. And I don't know how this could be misinterpreted, because her body language seemed to say exactly what she said. And it was very flippant in a way. She said, "Oh yeah, this is his last year. This will be his last year." And it didn't sound like she said, "Oh yeah, I think Ovi thinks this is the last year." This was more his wife saying, "Oh yeah, this is last." So I wonder if it's not that Ovi wants to retire. It's that he has made a deal with his wife that he would play till now, and she wants to go back home or whatever the heck she wants. Just be with the family. He's a huge family guy, right? You know, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't blame her. I'm not.
And he has kids now. And he has kids now.
I'm not putting her down for doing this. You got to take care of your family and all of that kind of stuff like that. And maybe there's this internal fight in him. Like, I wish I could go more, but I know I can't. And that's what it looks like on the ice to me. Like, he's almost has this.
Well, let me ask you a question. Do you think he gets to 20 goals this year?
He probably does what he normally does. He wakes up in the second half and am I going to bet against Ovi? No, no, not a chance. Not a chance. He could go on.
If he doesn't get to 20
goals in 20 games, runs knowing him. Like, there's no way I would ever bet against him.
No, I know. I'm with you. But if he doesn't get to 20 goals this year, I think that's the cutoff. I think that's the.
Yeah, that would definitely. Maybe you're right.
If he doesn't even get to 20 goals, right? Because he's only at 4 now. We're 20 games in. He's only at 4.
Well, that's what.
I mean, he has
goals. That's 16 goals, somewhere like that in a full season. But he almost always goes on a run late. But if he doesn't go on that run late, yeah. I don't think it would be because he didn't get 20 goals. I think it would be he didn't get 20 goals because he knows it's his last year. Like, that's what I think. I think it's it's hard
when you watch the games.
Having a battle inside of himself.
When you watch the games, his ice time has not been as much. He's not on the ice as much. 5-on-5. You know what I mean?
Right. They might be saving him till after the Olympics. He's not going to be playing in the Olympics, but you know what? They might be saving him, kind of say, hey, let's go for a stretch after the Olympics. We'll try to keep us in there. Take it easy, Ovi. And then he'll just go boom after the Olympics. I wouldn't be.
Maybe. Okay. All right. I just wanted to kind of get your take on him, because he just eclipsed the 901 mark or whatever the other day or something like that. And he is always going to be forever known as the greatest scorer.
Well, he's the greatest career scorer. I still say Mike Bossy was a better scorer, which is pretty.
Now I'm with you. I'm with you on that. I absolutely agree that Mike Bossy was a better scorer.
Yeah. If Mike Bossy didn't have the back problems and stuff, who knows what he would have did that guy.
His numbers would have been probably like right up there. You know what I'm saying, right?
For sure.
Mike
Bossy was the only player that I ever saw that when the puck got on his stick at the hash marks and there was nobody around him, I thought it was already a goal. Oh, there's a goal right there. That was the only player I ever saw that.
Wow.
He's incredible.
Wow.
He has the highest shooting percentage of all time, and it's not even close. It's not even close. So,
and see, you were the one that turned me on to him.
Yeah.
right? When we first met, you were like, "Oh, Mike Bossy," and then I started looking into what Mike Bossy did, and I was like, "Ooh, okay." So
Crazy.
yeah, I have to agree with you on that. But
That's not to take anything away from Ovi or Brett Hall or Bobby Hall or like all Wayne Gretzky or all the greatest scorers of all time. I mean, it's just something with that dude. He could pick corners like I've never seen anything like it, even
see,
to this day.
I think that Wayne Gretzky was the best, like, all-around offensive player
Most intelligent player, I would say, of all time.
because he had goals, but he had assists.
Yeah.
Right?
Best passer of all time, I would say for sure. Okay, we got to go here right away because we're getting close to the time. So we'll finish off at this. I was at a game in Edmonton when Wayne Gretzky was staring at the boards. And there was a guy behind him and a guy in the middle of the guy he was passing to that was coming back into the zone. And he flipped the puck. Did not turn his head. He did not turn his head. He flipped the puck backwards over 2 sticks and landed. I think probably Ari Curry. I can't remember who it was. Actually, I think it was Anderson. Anderson pots it. The murmur in the crowd after that, the game was going on for like however long, like for up until the next period. Nobody was talking about the game anymore. Everybody was talking about that. Everybody was looking at each other going, what just happened? That was the greatest pass I've ever seen in my entire life. And that guy used to do similar stuff all the time. So I find out afterwards, and because at the time I used to like to drink beer. My dad was a landscaper and he owned a landscaping company. And a lot of his clients used to go to this place called the Point After. It was like a little hole in the wall, looked like from the outside, but inside it was really nice. And they went there so nobody knew they were there. That's why they went. So it was a CFL guy that bought the place, and he did it for that reason. He wanted to make a place for businessmen to go and not be in business. You know what I mean? And Wayne used to go there every once in a while. And he would get his car to go up and he would go in, and everybody knew that if Wayne didn't talk to anybody, nobody talked to him. And usually he'd have like 2-3 beer. He was a teetotaler. He had 2 beer and you could tell. But and then he would get back and then he'd go. But sometimes he would get talking. And I said to my dad, if Wayne ever talks to me somewhere along the line, I'm going to ask him about that pass. So, and he did, and he talked to everybody like you and I are talking right now. Like
right
you
now,
did not know even for a second. He knew a couple of guys there too. So he'd say, "Hey, David, how you doing?" As soon as he started talking, he would talk, and people would gather around and in their own little way and talk to him. So finally, I worked up. I don't even know if I was old enough to be in the bar to tell you the truth, but yeah.
No comment.
Finally, I worked up the courage and I said, Wayne, I have to ask you a question. I said, I was in the Winnipeg game. You were in the corner and you were staring at the boards and you flipped a pass over 2 sticks. And he goes, no, I remember what you're talking about. You're right. That might have been the greatest pass I ever made. And I said, yeah, it was the greatest pass I ever saw. How did you do that? And he said, I looked in the reflection of the glass.
Because you can see that if you're far enough away,
yeah.
Like if you're at the dot or the slot or whatever.
No, he was closer than that.
Oh my God.
He looked at the reflection of the glass to see who was coming and he flipped the puck. Unbelievable. Anyways, this has been fucking deep, my friends. And this is what we do here. Great little stories talking about all the little things that are going on in the NHL. Getting in deep to all the teams and what they're doing, making our little predictions and talking about which team's going which way and whatever. And we're going to have trades coming up. Gotta be here for the trades, buddy. Gotta be here for the trades. So get yourself subbed up, tell your friends, put this, retweet it on the social media, because this is one of the finest NHL shows in the land, don't you know? And Ron, what about the rest of R&J Media? We got a lot more Frolic going on.
Yeah, man. We just did a Hockey Writers Inc. show. We just did a live show tonight, just talking about the Flyers and the Phantoms. I was lucky enough to be guest host on the OB Puck show, where we got to talk to Kevin Dorso. So got some prospect stuff in the works here. So all kinds of great things, man, going on. Got to go check it out. You got to go hop on over to Perlo's site and get into that, man, because look, if you want to know anything about hockey or betting on hockey, you have to hop on over to the Ice Guys, man, because Perlo and the Ice Guys, got to go check that out, man. That they got you all covered over there. Okay, so be sure to check them out, man.
NHL betting podcast in North America already again this year by people. There's a site that's by people for the people, and they're number one. And you know what? They're number 3 NHL podcast altogether, and that includes Spit and Chicklets. And the some Sportsnet or TSN show or something like that.
Yeah. Wow.
Number 3. So get over there. It's great content. You're gonna love it.
Check that out.
As well. And Ron gets in deep with prospects, and we're gonna have more stuff on that, man. He's had Schaefer on. We're loving that dude. Everybody loves Schaefer, man. And he had him. He did an interview with him before he got drafted, and many other great players. Atchison. There's several players in the league right now that Ron's in with, and we're going to see more of that. So
yeah, man, for sure.
Hit sub, get in. That's all I got for you today. That's my full 42. This has been Puck in Deep. See you next time, Kate.